and welcome to the Zoom version of In the Hall, Cable 14's Community Affairs program, bringing a focus on important issues confronted by political decision makers and community leaders, while also shining a light on the personalities which are trying to improve our community. My next guest is Orazio Caltagirone. I know that's a mouthful, but it's an easy name to say if you're of Italian background. Orazio Caltagirone, who is going to produce a free 24-hour Italo-Canadian web radio and TV channel right here from the city of Hamilton. Orazio, welcome to In the Hall.
Thanks for having me.
Well, it's good to see you. And Orazio, of course, we've been friends. We've been collaborators on a former program that I had called Hamilton Talks. You helped me produce that. You're very tech savvy. You're involved in all kinds of things around technology. Some of them, all of them are quite impressive. But in your own words, tell people a little bit about yourself and your background.
Well, my background is mostly I've been for about 30 plus years now in broadcasting, working for various radio and television stations in Canada and in Italy.
And you also have done some work, I don't know if you want to talk about this, for the airport. Tell us what you do there or what you did there.
Oh, right. See, that's like my day job.
That's your real job.
Yeah, the one that pays the mortgage and and has the benefits. Right. It's a senior AV technician where I'm responsible for all the AV that you hear and that is required in Terminal 3.
Yeah, so when you go to Terminal 3 at Pearson Airport and you read the screens and so on, you're responsible for all that. I'm sure you're not alone, but you're responsible for making sure that all of that works, right?
Sometimes I can be alone sometimes, but yeah, it runs pretty smoothly. My job is just to make sure that it's set up properly and that it's, if there are any issues, to be resolved as quickly as possible. Excellent.
Orazio, you've worked, as you said, in multicultural radio, Chin Radio in Toronto, and also for RAI, which is in Italy, which is Italy's state television program, or at least not program, but network. Tell us what that experience was like. What took you to Italy?
I've always been in Italy for either for work or for pleasure. And I decided that that's where I wanted to stay. The one big draw in Italy is the political system for me, because I find it so fascinating, and the amount of political parties that are out there, and even the state-run media, RAI, has 3 channels, RAI 1, 2, and 3. One is for the left, one is for the right, and one is for the center.
Amazing that they're so organized. Now, I follow Italian politics a little bit. I follow international politics a little bit. I was born in Italy, but I came as a youngster, never lived there as an adult. And of course, I was so young when I came, I wasn't even aware of politics because I was so young. But most people would describe it not as interesting, but as confusing. And yet it's something that you find fascinating.
Well, they still have Mussolini's granddaughter in member of parliament. Like, how more fascinating and interesting can you get?
And some people would say, how more disgusting might you be able to get? But that would be a political statement, and I want to stay away from that. So you also became friends with some very notable people. We're going to show, how do you pronounce his name, Miguel
Bozza. He's Paolo Dominguin's son.
Yes,
and quite an actor.
And he himself is someone who's still active today, I understand.
Yeah. In the past few years, he's done a lot of TV shows, variety shows on Mediaset and RAI, and that's pretty much where he's been. He hasn't had really much hits since the 80s.
And of course, I understand you're also an acquaintance, friend maybe, of Marcello Mastroianni, that many in our viewing audience would a name that they would recognize. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I actually was a camera person for an interview that we did here in Toronto. He was visiting Toronto, not here in Toronto, here in Toronto. And afterwards, we started to talk, and he was so friendly, so warm to speak to, and just wanted to hear him speak more, and just all the and suck up all the good vibes that he was sending, and to a point where I remember once I was at a cafe in what's the village there? I can't remember. A cafe downtown, and next door,
Yorkville, probably Yorkville Village? Yeah.
And a couple tables from me was Marcello, and I was there with a couple of friends, and they really didn't. When I told them like, oh, like I'm gonna go say hi to Marcello, they thought I was
showing off.
Mind.
Yeah.
Well, no, then they realized that I wasn't really showing off. I was right.
Excellent.
But yeah, he was an amazing person, and a lot of other artists, like a list a mile long of the amount of artists that I've met, and from everything from Nila Pizzi to Eros Ramazzotti to today's latest singers from Italy.
And of course that these may be names that some of our viewers, many of our viewers would not recognize, but take it from me, they are well-known stars, some of them international actually, in terms of their reputations.
They probably would know their music more than the name.
Yes,
because a lot of the music back then was also interpreted in English language.
Yes, indeed. Well, Orazio, those are some considerable bona fides.
Yes.
So that you've done a lot of stuff, and now you're embarking on this new project. Tell us about it. What are you doing?
Well, I was going to say that it was COVID, but actually COVID was what gave me the motivation to do something that I wanted. I've always dreamt of doing something like this, and I knew in my mind that I could do this with maybe not my eyes closed, but I can do this with not a problem. So during COVID, I decided, to keep myself busy because, I can't stay still. I decided to build a studio in my home, and I started waiting for all those packages that I ordered online for new equipment from the United States. That seemed like it took forever. But every time I received something, I would put it into the studio and install it. I'm almost done with it. I'm just going to do some last minute wiring and then some tests, and then we should be able to go. I already have a few other programs that are confirmed to be produced by other producers here in Canada and in Italy. So we get a nice little variety of the two countries. What I wanted to emphasize too is that when I said Italo-Canadian, there's a language, Larry. Okay, there's a language. Where second generation speak English to the parents, and the parents speak in Italian to the kids. Well, this radio and TV is going to be targeted to those people, and you would hear both in English and Italian.
So well, first of all, you have invested your own money, you've told me offline, to get the studio up and running, and it sounds to me like this is equipment that's necessary and needed to get this streaming service, this TV channel going, which is admirable enough. But in terms of content, this is a program that is being hosted by yourself and Daniela. Who is Daniela?
Daniela, I worked with her many moons ago in radio. She's actually from Sanremo. She lives. Oh. She's a real resident of Sanremo, but moved to Rome.
And of course, Sanremo is the location where they have a yearly song festival, the very famous songs that also migrate over here. The ones that win the contest, right?
Well, everybody knows the Con te partirò di Andrea Bocelli.
Yes,
that one was launched and first sang at that festival.
Of course, people will remember Domenico Modugno from generations past.
Volare, of course.
Volare, everybody knows Volare. Okay, so Daniela is going to help host this.
With the top 10, which is not going to, it's going to be not just we're going to announce the top 10 and play the video, but we're also going to probably talk about whatever is happening in that artist's life at the moment, or perhaps some other interesting facts about that artist, and
And
also
these
of
are
course
Italian artists, Orazio, or are they?
all Italian. Yes,
Yes.
all Italian.
And as well as the music aspect, you're going to run some news as well. So who's going to help you with that?
Well, I have a another good friend of mine in Italy. She lives in Torino, who is confirmed to do a political segment for me on Ciao Hamilton.
And so how can I access this? How can our viewers access this?
We're just like finalizing with a server in the UK where we'll be able to have a high volume of traffic without any problems with the stream. So I will be announcing that soon, as soon as I that's all finalized. But it will be either through that through your laptop, your phone, your computer, or if you have a smart TV.
So, I mean, the usual ways, at least the usual modern ways that people access anything, they'll be able to access your program. Are you going to advertise this in some way? How is this going to be promoted? I know you have a
Yes.
YouTube program that you do as well on Hamilton issues, very creative stuff.
Oh yeah, that one's been going on for almost a decade. It's just it's called My 905 Hamilton, and it's just about everything that I encounter or that is interesting or newsworthy, as we say in the business, to post on there. And sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's serious, sometimes
Very
it's
good.
how.
Listen, Orazio, we've run out of time, but good
Yeah,
luck with
yeah,
this
yeah.
venture. I will be tuning in, and if we can
Thank
do
you.
anything to help promote, we'll certainly do further. We'll certainly do that as well. Thanks for doing this, Orazio. And thank you for joining us. Please join us again next week for another
Grazie, ciao.
episode of In the Hall. Ciao, Orazio. This, Orazio. And thank you for joining us.